Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is I, your host, Mr. Sean, and today we are coming back to Ask Reddit with the following question. What is the biggest NSFW green flag in a partner? I know we're used to a lot of what are the red flag stories, RPG horror stories, dating horror stories, neckbeard horror stories, so when I saw this pop up, I actually answered it myself, and my answer will be somewhere in this video, but I thought, wow, that's really cool. What are some of the green flags we see? You know, it can't all be gloom, doom, and bad people. So I thought we'd explore some of the answers people gave to this prompt today, but before that, let's get into the ad. Of course, by now you know that I make custom miniatures. One of my specialties being not safe for work miniatures. Figured that was appropriate to mention during this Vol videos. I also sell anime figures, squishmallows, and other collectibles on my eBay page. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. As we all know, the more people that see these videos, the more chances I have to sell my items, and the more items I sell, the more videos I make. Also, every additional 50 subscribers we get on the channel, I do a miniature giveaway. So if you want a chance to win a Chimera miniature free and clear, be sure to share this around and get other people to subscribe. Thank you for indulging me with a moment of your time. Let's get into today's video. Number 1. Getting pleasure from your pleasure. This is a really important one, guys. I mean, if the person you're with isn't having fun, it's not a good time. It can't just be all about you and what you want. It takes two people to tango, so both people should be having a good time. And not only that, your partner having a good time should be important to you. Number 2. The cheeky touches throughout the day that build up for the night. Again, love this one. I mean, it's important to make your partner feel desired, not just when you're both, in front of each other naked. Like, they should know how you feel about them throughout the day. So don't do what I do and constantly slap your partner's ass in public and piss them off. It's cute maybe the first time, but like after the 5th butt slap in Hobby Lobby, they get a little mad. But hey, what can I do? As someone who doesn't approve of organized religion, it is my duty to slap my partner's ass in the Lord's hobby store, alright? Number 3 is mature about using lube. I've had guys get offended and accuse me of not being wet enough, lol. Sorry for not wanting to tear myself a new vagina. This one's confusing to me. I don't know if it's because I started having sex later in life than most people, but I didn't know there was any kind of stigma about having to use lube. I just thought that was, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I think being mature about all things in the bedroom is probably a pretty good green light, and probably just a downright necessity for partners, in all honesty. Number 4. A guy who doesn't end all intimacy the second they have come. It's pretty jarring for women to go from the intimacy of sex to being treated like an unwelcome house guest in 30 seconds flat. I feel like at that point you have a hookup, not a partner. I mean, maybe a sexual partner, but definitely not like a partner in the traditional sense of things. Like, you liked her enough to want to have sex with her, you should kind of want her to still be around at least for a little bit. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Number 5. Making sure you are comfortable with what is going on. I can actually attest to just how important this one is. My first time was not my partner's first time, and I was anything but comfortable, and she was very aware of that and helped me get comfortable, and, I just could not be more appreciative of that. New experiences in general can be uncomfortable, and especially one as intimate as that. It's really great to have someone that is going to be aware that you might not be the most comfortable in that situation and is willing to help you and understand and appreciate that. Number 6. Being able to laugh during sex if something funny happens, then getting back to it. That's definitely a good one. I don't know what the official term is called, but when my fiance calls them body farts, where basically during the act of two people's skin touching, it makes a noise that is reminiscent of a fart, and she will just start laughing her ass off if that happens. But it does not really kill the mood. We have a good laugh, and then we get back to it. While sex is a very serious thing, it doesn't have to be 100% serious 100% of the time. Just being able to laugh at yourself or at the world in general is a great trait in any person. Okay, so there's actually a comment to this one that I just had to share with everybody because it's amazing. Years ago, in my MDMA/psychedelic days, I was at a Molly party at my brother's apartment. I had just met this girl, my brother's girlfriend's friend, and started making out, then went off and fucked within 45 minutes of meeting each other. Fast forward towards the end of the night, us two were in the living room going to sleep and started fooling around. Well, anyway, after we had been going at it for a while, I had her bent over the couch and someone walks in from the balcony and she got startled while I was mid-thrust and she smacked her face against the wall. We both started cracking up for like 5 minutes, then got back into it. Turns out one of my brother's buddies had been out there for almost an hour. He said something like, I was just about to come inside, but then I started hearing some banging, so I stayed outside waiting for y'all to get done, but I got cold and had to come inside. He was wearing a Charmander onesie, which made it even funnier in the moment. Good guy Charmander not wanting to cockblock, but hey, even Charmander gets cold. I'm glad getting interrupted by a Charmander didn't let the flame go out, so to speak, because that would mean death for Charmander. Number 7. They communicate what they want and ask how they can give you what you want. I mean, yeah, this one's pretty accurate. I think in any romantic relationship, even outside of the bedroom, communication is key. And we have another comment here, a person sharing their story to this comment. In a friend group I was in, I was talking to a girl and telling her how my best sexual relationships have been women who actually communicated and told me what they wanted. Her response, "Now, fuck that. If you can't figure out what you're doing, I'm not wasting my time and moving on." Me, it's a mystery how you're still single. Nobody is a mind reader. You gotta tell people what you like and what you want. Hell, sometimes you get with someone and you realize you're into things you didn't know you were into. So if you didn't know yourself, how are they gonna know? You gotta tell them. Number 8. My now boyfriend and I were hooking up for like the second time ever. Deep into the 3rd round that night, I was sore and achy, but trying to hide it because I still just couldn't get enough of him. With one thrust he made, I winced in pain. But I got myself together and put what I thought was a pretty convincing hungry sex kitten expression back on my face. Well, when I tell you that man stopped on a dime, pulled out, kissed me gently and said, "I only want it to be good for you or we're done for the night. I don't want to hurt you." I melted. He put his clothes on and left the hotel just to get me some cranberry juice and some Tylenol. He snuggled me and kissed me until we fell asleep. The consideration and care was just God tier. Paying attention to your partner's body language and comfort is a huge green flag. 100% agree. Number 9. Masturbating while they go down on you. These people go to heaven and deserve everything good in life. And next is a comment that I completely agree with. This person responds, "I'm not coordinated enough to do 2 things. Could not agree more." God bless you if you can do what the person, the first comment said, but don't know how you do it. Number 10. When they accept your no's, you'd be surprised how many people just ignore it, or push until you give in. Again, guys, this all goes back to, it's important for you both to have a good time, and you should care about them having a good time. If you hear a no, that's all you need to hear. No means no, and it doesn't mean, it's not 37 no's and a yes is still a yes. 1 no is a no. To think otherwise shows absolutely zero respect for your partner. Number 11, eye contact. Doesn't sound very NSFW on the surface, but the eyes can be the sexiest part of a woman, and if she gives you the right look, it can be the hottest thing in the world. I mean, keyword being the right look, because there is a difference between fuck me eyes and serial killer monster eyes.
Oh my God. John, did you see that? She was totally giving you the fuck me eyes.
No, she wasn't.
She was giving you the fuck me eyes.
What are the fuck me eyes?
Yeah, some women just have fuck me eyes.
Do I have fuck me eyes?
Now you have give us the ring, my precious eyes.
Number 12. Realizing a trauma-derived kink might make you bust like a shotgun, but also knowing you don't want to live like that in real life and compartmentalizing it to the bedroom. I don't really know much about trauma-based kinks, but yeah, I would think that understanding your partner is like working something out by having this does not mean they want this in their day-to-day. I mean, honestly, I would assume this just applies to kinks in general. Just what somebody wants in private time isn't what they want outside of private time, if that makes any sense. I think this comment is a very specific way of just saying that understanding that normal time is not bedroom time. I make a lot of neckbeard videos, and a lot of times you get guys that don't seem to realize that if you're submissive in the bedroom, typically because that's your very take charge in real life, and they just want a waifu that will be submissive all the time, and it's like, I don't think that's something you get all that often unless she's like a battered woman. Like, kinks that come out in the bedroom are not just the way we live our lives. To ruin a couple people's childhoods, it's like Batman and Bruce Wayne, you're Batman at night, you're Bruce Wayne in the day, and they're not the same thing. Batman belongs on the streets of Gotham, not in the boardroom of Wayne Enterprises, if that makes any sense. Hopefully that, ruined your childhood a little bit. I mean, but dressing up as a giant bat in leather is kind of a kink in and of itself, I guess. If your kink is justice. Number 13. Last month, I was on a date with my significant other. We are still somewhat early in our relationship, so I was talking about something I was self-conscious about and what I perceived as a red flag. Her exact words were, "Thank you for telling me. It doesn't change the way I feel about you." Man, that made me feel really good inside. My emotional connection bar got filled fast AF there. I mean, yeah, if you can't be emotionally vulnerable with someone, you're not going to want to be physically vulnerable with someone. I mean, when you're in the bedroom about to commit the act, you are vulnerable, as it were. You're naked. You are quite literally the most exposed and vulnerable you can possibly be. And if you can't trust someone emotionally, you're really not going to want to be even more vulnerable. Like, one is playing with your heart, one is playing with your life. I mean, there's something that we kind of chuckle at it, but it paints a really bad picture, a really sad picture, so to speak, is that, when people were asked about what their concerns for using, like, a dating app were, guys were like, well, I'm afraid she's not going to look like her pictures. And girls were afraid that the guy was going to murder them. But, I mean, ultimately, I think guys are less likely to admit to it, but we are just as scared to be emotionally vulnerable and and by extension physically vulnerable. I'll be honest, when I was on my way to hook up with my now fiance for the very first time, there was a brief moment in my head who went, well, she is Wicca. What if this is just a trick to get me to come over and be some kind of ritual sacrifice? I then almost immediately laughed it off and was like, well, if it happens, it happens. But honestly, the fact that that thought passed through my head just shows how hard it can be to put yourself in that situation if you don't trust the person. Number 14. Understanding that sometimes the spirit is willing, but the flesh is spongy and bruised. I never thought I'd die this way, but I always kinda hoped. Death by snoo-snoo. Brannigan's love is like Brannigan's law, hard and fast. If I have mated with a woman, inform the men. She's built like a steakhouse, but she handles like a bistro. You win again, Gravity. If anyone is confused, all of that was a Futurama reference. Number 15. Probably the question my now fiancé asked me just before we started dating. Backstory. We were friends who had both just gone through recent breakups. We had been talking and decided we were going to just hook up to relieve some stress. I started getting really nervous. I'm not a hookup guy, and I actually really liked my friend and didn't think I could actually go through with it without catching feels. She then basically sends me this text that says, hey, I still want to fuck you, but can we, date after we do that? We slept together, went on our first date later that day, have been together 4 years, and are getting married later this year. Not sure it's entirely not safe for work, but since it involves sleeping together and then going on a date, I figured maybe it belonged here. Number 16. When she says a lot of funny, dirty, playful, slutty things. Make me laugh while turning me on? Forget about it. Be my girlfriend. Now. I mean, yeah, who doesn't love a funny, dirty girl? A girl who can make you laugh and make you come? That's wife material. Number 17. When their expectations and knowledge aren't built on pornography. This is a big one, guys. I mean, in my, long time as a single man, I watched a good amount of pornography, but even I knew that that is not what real sex is like. If you are basing your sexual expectations off of what you have seen in porn, you are bound for disappointment. Honestly, understanding that porn is just super fake is not only good knowledge for the bedroom, but just in life in general. If you genuinely think porn mimics reality, then you are gonna have so many more problems than getting someone to sleep with you. Think of it this way. You should feel about porn the same way you do about the next Marvel film. You should go into it wanting to be entertained, but understanding that none of these things really happened. The only real difference is the climax of the film means different things. Number 18. Morning sex is so underrated. Agreed. No further comment. Number 19. He took me to a nice location by a lake and woods. Thought I was gonna get murdered, but obviously I wasn't. Anyways, it was just supposed to be a hookup while we were camping out, then never speak to each other again. Instead, he and I got really drunk, had amazing sex, and ended up skinny dipping and looking up at the stars and held each other. Been together for 2 years now, and I've never been so madly in love before. Hey, sometimes you just know when you found a good thing. And number 20. Being unashamed of being a sexual being while not letting it consume who you are. I love this one. I think this is a great one to end on for this video because a healthy sex life is important. Not being ashamed of your sexuality is important, but at the same time, don't be a Glenn Quagmire. Don't be an anime pervert like, I don't know, Mineta from My Hero Academia. Don't let your entire life be your sexual desires. You can be a sexual being and be a normal person. Unless you are a mayfly, you really have so much more going for you and more to do in the world than just have sex your entire life. And I literally mean that. A mayfly doesn't even have a digestive tract. It lives like 24 hours. Its only purpose is to mate and be consumed by local wildlife. Like, that's the purpose of it. Its entire life is mate. You are not a mayfly, alright? You have other things to do. So, yes, embrace your sexuality, but not everything is about sex. Not every comment has to be an innuendo, and you should not treat your partner like you are just going through the motions until you two can get to someplace private and take your clothes off again. A healthy sex life is key to a healthy life, but the key word being healthy. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today. I like to think we were able to look at something that was a little spicy, a little not safe for work, but still ultimately a very positively themed video. I know we all love the stories of people behaving badly and sometimes just seeing some of the worst and cringiest individuals that humanity has to offer, but I think sometimes it is important to lift yourself up out of that cesspool and maybe look at some of the good that's in the world. And if you agree with me, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as click the links, maybe even buy a mini. Be sure to share this video around, spread the positivity, as well as the amount of my ability to possibly sell my miniatures to random people on the internet. If you didn't like this video, don't worry, there'll be plenty of videos about people behaving like absolute jackasses in the near future. But until that time, thank you for joining Chimera Miniatures. I'm your host, Mr. Sean, and I genuinely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.